Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Before we dive in, please allow me to give a brief intro about Fitbud for those of you who might be new here. Essentially, Fitbud helps you grow your fitness business with the power of your own app on iOS and Android. We also give you a dedicated and customizable website on your own domain. Beyond usual day-to-day operations, our platform is the only tool you'll ever need to seamlessly run your fitness business and build a robust digital brand. We also offer a 30-day free trial. You can schedule your demo with our experts from the link that we'll share in the chat shortly. Moving on, I am delighted to introduce our esteemed host, the exceptional Sarah Safari. She's a fitness entrepreneur, business coach, and visionary. Sarah has an impressive track record of guiding thousands towards achieving their best in health and business. Her expertise is not only remarkable, but also truly inspirational. Without further delay, let's welcome Sarah Safari to the virtual stage.
Quite the intro. I think it's getting better every time. I got to do more webinars. All right, guys. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Sarah. All yours.
Okay. All right, guys. So for anyone who has seen me do a webinar, you'll know that I like to chat with you guys a lot throughout. So for anyone who does not know that, I'm probably just going to be chatting with you guys a little bit, asking a little bit more about where you're at, just because we got some different crowds out here, and I want to make sure that I'm speaking to whatever problems, issues, successes you guys are having, so that it can be the most valuable. So before we start this one, I was actually in debate about this topic when I introduced it to Fitbud. We're talking about Facebook and Instagram ads. Just because we're all at different levels, some of us are not yet ready for paid advertising and some of us are. And so we'll dive into that. But if some of this stuff feels complicated or goes over your head, you're welcome to ask questions. And we can dive into when is the best time to run them, all of that good stuff. So I'm going to open the presentation, share screen. And while I'm doing that, let's start with the first question. So what I just want to know is what percentage of you are actively training 5 or more clients? Just give me a yes if you're actively training 5 or more clients right now in the chat box. All right, we're getting quite a few yeses. Awesome. I'm assuming the rest of you are a no who aren't saying anything. So that means quite a few of you are in the 1 to 4 client range, and that's okay. Just the last question before we get started is this. So what percentage of you are currently doing either in person, hybrid, or online? So if you're doing online, just say online. If you're doing hybrid, say hybrid. If you're doing in person, say in person. Online, hybrid, in person, hybrid, in person, 99%, hybrid. Okay, we got a combo of hybrid and in person. Not many pure onlines. If you want to go, 90% or more, 80% or more online, can you type in, the same people who just contributed, can you type in online if you would prefer to be mostly online? We got a couple. Okay, we're getting quite a few. Mostly online, 50-50. Okay. We've got a mix, but we got a lot of you that want to go online and very few who are 100% in person. So we're mostly on the hybrid route, and those of you who are hybrid or in person want to go online. So that's really, really good to know. So let me go ahead and open the presentation, and then I'm going to share a screen with you guys. All right, all set. All right, perfect. All right, guys, if you can see my screen, just give me a yes so I can make sure everyone can see the screen all right. This is great. I can see your guys' chat in the corner. Awesome. Perfect. All right, guys, let's get started. I'm going to close the chat. I'll take a look at it next time I ask you guys a question. I'm going to see if I can make it smaller a little bit. Yeah, perfect. All right. Okay, so theme of today is growing your fitness business with Facebook and Instagram ads. So I'm going to give you guys a quick intro of who I am before we get started and who you're listening to. So I was a trainer for corporate gyms for over 5 years. So I worked for the Anytime Fitnesses of the world and some big corporate gyms in Canada that my US friends won't know of. I was working really, really long shifts, trading dollars for hours, and I was not happy. So I dropped out of college. I paid a coach $10K and opened my gym and moved out of my parents' house all within like a 2-week period at that time. But the reason why I did that was because I really needed to get out of the hustle. Okay. Well, what I ended up actually doing by opening a gym was creating a really high paying, but high stress job for myself. And just an FYI, like I didn't do really well because I was super smart and great at business. It was actually the exact opposite. It was complete luck at the time. What we're about to talk about is relevant. Facebook and Instagram ads were incredibly cheap. So I was having people come into my gym and I was converting them at high ticket prices, and I was getting like a 20x ROI. It was absolutely insane at the time. If I knew more about business, I would have done better. But I had a lot of cash for the first time and completely miserable. What I wanted was freedom, and I wanted location freedom. So it's a lot of you guys right now who want to be hybrid or online. I'm assuming there's a freedom component to that. So I ended up shutting down the gym and started from scratch online, which was initially what I was trying to do before the coach that I hired told me to open a gym. But since then, I have grown another multiple six-figure online fitness business. That was once I went online. I grew my own personal coaching business to over 7 figures, multiple 7 figures. I've helped 1,000+ coaches take their fitness business from anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 a month in their fitness business to $10,000, $20,000 a month on average. Some have been bigger and some have been less, but those are the average numbers. I've been featured in Fast Company, Digiday, Thrive Global, LATV, all that good stuff. And I am currently partnered with, aside from Fitbudd, also with some of the biggest PT certifiers, and I'm sure many of you were certified with. So that being ACE, that being NASM, ISSA, ASFA. There's quite a few more, but I'm not just going to name off a bunch of abbreviations for you. So those are that's my quick story and credentials. So let me move this so that, and I'm going to close this briefly. All right. Perfect. So when to run ads. So remember I said I would talk to you guys about when a right time to run ads is. So here's the thing. You don't want to run ads until you've built your brand. And if you have not seen the webinar on how to build your brand, because we've talked about this, and these are all compounding webinars in some ways, is you want to do that. You want to be able to have messaging that's strong and a feel that's a differentiating factor, right? It's like if I have the best ice, or if I have an ice cream shop, and my ice cream's like not good, and it's like the same as everyone else's, and everyone else I'm comparing to are just not super great ice cream. It's kind of icy. There's no creaminess to it. There's no chunks. And then, I try to like really expand reach by running a bunch of ads to it. People are going to come, they're going to try it, and they're never going to try it again. So I'm just giving you a silly analogy for if your core isn't set right, which is your branding and your messaging and your positioning, and you try to boost it and create buzz around it with ads, you're going to waste your money. So wait until the product is at the point where it does make sense to run ads, and you've gone through the checklist of what we've talked about before. I'm not going to go into them for time and just so that it's not repetitive, but that's super important first, right? And then the second thing is going to come down to skill. So when you know how to close at least 60% or more of qualified calls, right? Like we all get super unqualified calls. We get people who are not a fit. We get people who aren't financially qualified, whatever it might be. But I'm talking about qualified calls, being the people who fill out an application, and that application indicates that they are a qualified lead. Okay. By the way, just so I get an idea, how many of you guys currently on this webinar have ran some kind of paid advertising before? That doesn't count boosting a post. That's not really paid ads. What percentage of you have actually ran paid ads through Ads Manager inside of Facebook, Instagram, all of that good stuff? Just give me a yes if you ran those ads before, or any kind of ads before. Let's see here. I have, yes, for another business. Oh, that's cool. Only boosted, yeah. On Google. Okay. No, I have. Matt, how did it go on Google? Yes, locally printed. Okay, so we have some of you that have done some level of paid advertising. That's really good to know. Okay, awesome. So the third one is when you've built credibility and follow-up systems so you don't lose on the back end. I'm going to tell you guys a quick story. When I first started this coaching company, where we were helping coaches who are in the fitness industry grow their business, we had everything in place but the follow-up, which is absolutely imperative, right? Because what happens is the front end is going to be 0.01% of people who are going to opt in from your ad. And then the other percentage is going to be a lot of people who are not yet ready. And so maybe they'll opt in, but they won't book a call. Maybe they'll land on your page, but they won't go on to the next step, right? Maybe they'll look at your social, but they won't proceed to engage with your product, whatever it might be. These are all people that you want to retarget either via paid advertising, via email sequences, via getting them warm in an incubator being like a private kind of membership group. It could be a private Facebook group, it could be a private Instagram group, some kind of private group where they can all have exclusive access to exclusive content and get to know you better over time, right? The whole goal is the know, like, and trust factor. That is something that we've referred to before. It went okay, I got a lot of traffic to our site, but it didn't convert to a lot of new clients. Yeah. So, and then Domingo, I found most of my people were by referral, haven't had to run ads yet. Yeah, that is a really good way to get clientele as well. So kind of like Matt said, it's very, very competitive if I'm assuming you're in the fitness space, to run ads on Google, just because the keyword and key search terms are really, really hard. So it gets very expensive on Google, and conversion becomes very difficult. And then you end up often getting an upside down ROI. That's why typically Facebook and Instagram does better if it's worked in the right way. So let's keep going. Oops, wrong way. Okay. All right, so let's talk about the step-by-step process to creating Instagram and Facebook ads. So first thing is going to be know your avatar. If anyone remembers who has seen the last webinar that I did, know your avatar was the first thing for your brand too, because many of these things interlace with one another. I hate math, but it's like math. Like, you can't move on to the next one unless you did the last lesson. So many of these things do interlace together. You need to know your client like the back of your hand, right? You need to know what keeps them up at night. What do they envy? Who do they envy? What do they want more than anything inside the world? And what social media platforms do they hang out on the most, right? Because that's going to be really important for your paid ads. Is it going to be Facebook? Is it going to be Instagram? We don't cover TikTok on this one, but is it going to be TikTok? Is it going to be, search terms on Google? Is that going to give you the results that you're looking for? It's really important to have a good idea of all of these things before you move forward with that. Okay. All right. So why do you need to know this for ads? Because the failure or success of your paid ads are in large part, depending on how well you can hit your clients' pain points and prove that you are the vehicle that will solve their pain. So think about paid ads like you're organic on steroids. If you're organic, and many people actually use this as a strategy, if your organic didn't do well, it probably won't do that well on paid ads either. If it did better than your other posts, it will probably do better when it's paid, because all paid ads do is substantially expand reach and buzz and engagement and CPMs for impressions, so cost per 1,000 impressions, in exchange for cash. So if you're able to put really strong content that converts that client on there, that's great. If you don't, you're going to lose money. So it's very, very important to do these things in the right way. Okay, so how do we do it in the right way? Okay, smart ways. I wish I knew this earlier. I found this out, I think maybe a couple of years ago, is the usage of very particular tools for this kind of stuff. And I think I'll talk about some of these tools later. But tools prevent you from playing the guessing game. The phenomenal, they're really, really, really good for brainstorming what you want to do, getting ideas for what you want to do. And they allow you to save ad spend because you are essentially using tools being like differing softwares that you're going to be actively using to see, hey, this ad did super well. Let me go and make sure I use this same structure because I know it does well for my specific area. So you can grab a tool. Let me make this super easy. You can find a tool and you can be like, okay, I'm looking for the fitness niche. Okay, and you'll put that in there. And then you'll say, I'm looking for longest lasting, meaning how this ad was up for a really long period of time. It's not going to tell you the return, of course, but it's going to tell you how long it was up for. If an ad's up for a long time, guess what that means? The founder who's running the ad is getting a really good return. So they were running it for a long time. So you put ran for the longest period of time, right? And then you can put whatever other filters that you want in there, and boom, you're going to see tons of creative, so photos, videos, that kind of thing, and tons of copy, and you'll see exactly which platform it ran for since what year and what time period. And then you'll immediately know, oh, this ad did really well. What we did was at least 50% of the ads that we ran, we found the ideas from using tools like that. And they outperformed any specific ideas or testing that we had done by like 10x, and they lasted years on end, right? For differing audiences. And the reason was because here's this kind of format that you run. And if you run it in this format, it's going to do well for this specific audience, which is like a big leg up for anyone who's ever run ads. You know, that like essentially helps solve 30 to 40% of your problems. Okay. Just I'm going to pause real quick just because I want to make sure you guys are following me on this one. I know it's slightly more advanced. If this is making sense, give me a yes. If you're like totally lost about what I'm talking about, just tell me lost. It would help to explain where you're lost so I can help you. But if this is making sense, just give me a yes, making sense, whatever you want, so I can make sure that it is for you guys. The tools, I'll go into that for sure. I'm new to all this. Don't worry, Prima. That's totally okay. Okay, so if you're lost, tell me where you're lost. I know one person said lost most of the ideas. So if you're lost, I can try to explain that to you. And I'm going to keep going. So I'm going to come check this in like a minute. Let me know where you're lost if you're lost on this. And it's okay. Like the ads is the next step after you build your brand. So it's a little bit more complex once you've got some revenue coming into your business relatively consistently. Carly, love you, girl. All right. Okay, so picking your platform. So right now we're talking about Instagram and Facebook. So do you want IG ads? Do you want Facebook ads? Or do you want both? Right? And just so you're aware, if you're running paid ads on Facebook and Instagram, they're the same platform as we know. So you can run them all through one ads manager on Facebook. Okay. And guys, if you're lost, please tell me where you're lost. Otherwise, I cannot help you on solving that issue. Don't be shy. That's the only way I can support you. All right. So what type of campaign do you want to run? So the most common are two for small fitness entrepreneurs is lead ads to Messenger or a landing page, right? What by lead ads is, guys, like the biggest companies in the world aren't running, direct lead ads. Those are like medium and small size companies. Large companies for years run brand campaigns because they know it pays off, right? And regardless of whether you're going to run ads or not run ads, this is really important to know. Is branding is that important because large companies put hundreds of millions of dollars into just awareness, into just here's our brand, here's what we're about. Let me get this in your head, right? That's really, really important. And it's incredible how much subliminal programming that does. I'm going to give you guys a really side topic. I was watching, I don't know, a TikTok video with a friend the other day. And then later on that day, she started like singing this Eminem song. And she's like, yeah, I have no idea why I'm singing this Eminem song. And I'm like, oh, it was like 8 at night. and we had watched it at like 7 in the morning or something. And I'm like, oh, it's because we watched this TikTok video, and that was the background song of the TikTok video, was this Eminem song. And she's like, oh. I'm like, yeah. And then we started talking about like to what degree that we have no understanding, or we don't really realize because it's subconscious, there's a level of programming. So just getting exposure, getting brand awareness is incredibly important, regardless of whether you're doing it via paid advertising or not via paid advertising. Let me see if you guys explained where you're struggling with. Okay, no worries, Prima. If there's anything specific, let me know and I'll try to help you out. Is it best to just do Facebook ads since they run together, or do you have to pick a specific option to run both? That's a really good question. So, Steph, so essentially, you can run it just on Facebook, you can run it just on Instagram, or you can run it on both. If you have a mentor that has worked with a lot of coaches in the industry, they can tell you what works better on another platform. But if you want to do it yourself, you'll have to test. So what that means is you'll have to see, okay, let me run it on Facebook, let me run it on Instagram, and then it will ask you, like, do you want it on the sidebar? Do you want it to be on the feed? Do you want it to be in stories? Like all that kind of stuff. And then from there, you'll have a really good idea of like, oh, it looks like you can see your data, and you'll be like, oh, it looks like people only use mobile. Boom, remove desktop. It looks like 90% of my leads are coming from Facebook. Boom, remove Instagram. It looks like these are the demographics that are answering. Okay, great. I'm going to delete these demographics. And so this is how business works. You find feedback from data, you adjust based off of that feedback, and then you continue that same loop to optimize and constantly and consistently improve what you're doing, right? So quick thing, every single person on here uses Fitbudd, right? Fitbudd is very good at paid advertising because many of you probably found them through some kind of paid advertising, right? And so discoverability is a huge thing with your brand, and being able to find out where your ideal client is, how to source them, and then scale ads based on the data that you have been given. Okay, so I hope that made more sense for you, Steph. All right, let me move on to the next. Okay, so your business needs to have the MLR factor, okay? By the way, I do remember the tool thing. I think I put it in here, but in case I didn't, I will make sure to go over at least the one that I use the most, and I have used and know works super well for you guys. So your business needs to have the MLR factor. So first one is memorable. This has to be based on your messaging, right? How can you make your business memorable? Are you the business? As in, are you a personal brand? Or are you trying to brand as a company, right? If you are a personal brand, at the beginning, it is a lot easier. What I typically recommend for brands, unless they are like gung-ho on like, I just don't want to be at all like the face or anything like that, if you don't want to be the face long term, that's okay. Be the face short term. And then in the long term, you can switch it out to a brand presence. You can even be a personal brand anywhere to up to 5-10 million, and then switch it up to like a business brand presence where you start integrating other forms of social media and people to do your ads and all these kinds of things. But the reason why I say start with yourself as a personal brand, if you can, is because it's a lot more personable. People relate a lot better to a person than they do to a logo, than they do to corporate structure responses. So if you can have, and this is the same reason why people create what we call UGC, which is user-generated content, which means people creating content for brands. What brands do nowadays is create content that they get from influencers, and then they use it for their brand, because those ads do anywhere from 30 to 40% better than their corporate typical creative. So what that means is if you are the person, then you can improve how many people come into your world and convert and become your clientele through simply being the face, even if it's for a short period of time. If you don't want it long term, it could be an advantage. So it's something to at least debate and consider. Okay. Second thing is going to be likable. So these are your unique traits, characteristics that will build polarity. So I was on a podcast before this for my other company, and they asked, what's one thing that people can do to stand out. Like if they want to be on social media, or if they want to be an influencer, or they want to be, it doesn't need to be necessarily an influencer, but to stand out, right? And I said the biggest thing that they need to do is really be able to improve on their personality marketing. And all that is, you take something that is very already authentic about who you are and how you are, and you illuminate that, right? What is it about you? What is something fun about you? What is something about your personality? What is that, right? I can be kind of intense, right? I'm like sweet and spicy. I also freaking love chunky ice cream. If I want to be a personal fitness brand right now, I would like capitalize on that, because they're things that make you stand out. They're things that make you memorable. And you can create content around these things while mixing in your own personal, here's fitness, that. When you're just focusing on, let me post a bunch of workouts, like there's 100 million other people posting a bunch of workouts and food and all that stuff. Doesn't mean you don't need to do it, but it means intertwine it with things that allow you to stand out as a unique figure in your world. Does that make sense, guys? This one has nothing to do with ads, but this is absolutely important. If that makes sense, please give me a yes, or I'm following, or something like that. I'm going to give it a quick pause while I make sure you guys are with me. Thanks for the UGC. Yeah, I'll just start saying user-generated content. It just means when a content creator creates content for somebody else. That's the simplest way to explain it. Yes, absolutely. Awesome. All right. So the last pillar, guys, is results focus. And nobody cares about the process. They care about the results. So a lot of times we'll be like, here's this, app that I'm using, and here's my methodology for accountability, and here's what we're going to do in terms of putting you in a caloric deficit. Like, I'm making stuff up, but talking about the features isn't necessarily what you want to place primary focus on. It's something that you can place some focus on, but making it the end all be all and essential focus is the wrong way to go. You want to focus on the result, right? So I always give this analogy where I'll say, like, the biggest goal here isn't for you to sell the plane ride, it's to sell the vacation. So the plane ride is, I'm in a super tight space and the food sucks and the person beside me is stinky and I have my legs hurt, whatever it might be. And getting to the vacation is, oh, wow, they give me a welcome drink. It's sunny. I see palm trees. The ocean's right there. That's what you want to sell, not the plane ride, the vacation. It's the same thing with your service, with your fitness coaching program. Okay. I keep going backwards. All right. All right. So remember earlier where I talked about direct message ads, so being message, like someone's DMing you, versus landing page ads, right? And those are like the most common ones that we've had fitness coaches run. So we've had DM ads and we had landing page ads. And so landing page ads, I'm just going to try to explain this as simple as possible for anyone who isn't following. So landing page ads is like, okay, so they're going to hit the link to my ad. They're going to see my ad. They're going to click on that link. They're going to go onto a page, and that page is going to give them a link to book a call, or it's going to give them a link for payment. Really, typically we do a link to book a call because our clients sell higher ticket programs, anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 programs. The low ticket approach is not how we just don't believe in that. It's a whole different category. But I'm going to break down the difference between these two and the benefits and cons of both. I've ran both, and I've had hundreds of clients run both, and it works differently for different people, and people have different preferences. So my goal with this isn't to tell you to do one or the other. It's to tell you to find the one that's going to work best for you. And honestly, any person you ever end up working with, any mentorship you ever get, the best thing that you can do is get the information and get them to help you find what's going to work for you, instead of them saying you have to do this, and as long as you do this, it works. That's BS. Like, it's your business. You figure out what works for you, and then they guide you into their recommendations, and then you make the final decision. That's the whole point of you running the business. Okay. So DM ads, you're gonna get cheaper leads because it's easier to click. They don't have to do much. They just click on your ad and then boom, they're inside your DM getting either an automated message or just that's typically what it starts with an automated message. And you can either have mini automated message, which I don't recommend, or you can have yourself or what we call a messenger or a lead generator in there, taking them through a conversational framework that gets them to book a call. They're a lot cheaper leads because it's lower barrier. It's easy to get to. They just click it and they're in your messenger. Okay. Landing page ads are more expensive because they have to click on your page and they have to register and then they have to book a call. Like it's multiple steps. So it takes longer. So obviously it's going to be more expensive. So, the DM ads require more skill in one stage of the process, in that you have to be good at messaging and getting people on a call. And it's not as easy as some people might think. It does take skill, and it's something that we teach because you need to be able to do it the right way to lead the person in the right path to get them to book a call with you. It gets more volume because it's going to get more clicks and it's going to be cheaper. Whereas landing page ads typically get more quality because there are more barriers. When there are more barriers, you're going to get more quality, but you're going to get less responses. That's just how it works. All right. So obviously DM ads require more DMing, and landing page ads require virtually no DMing except for like setting up automated systems to make sure that, you know, they're gonna show up to the call and all that good stuff. It's less popular DM ads, so there's less competition. Don't get me wrong, people still run DM ads a lot, but landing page ads are typically more common than DM ads. And it requires a decent platform, whereas platform matters less on landing page. What does that mean? It means that if you're running ads on Instagram and the page you're running on sucks, you're gonna get less opt-ins, right? Versus if you are running ads, DM ads on Instagram, and you have a pretty good page, you have a decent page, you've built your branding, you've built your messaging, all of these things that I've talked about that matter so much, you're gonna do better, right? And then on landing page ads, the platform matters less because that person is just clicking on your ad. It's taking them to a completely different page. Can they go back and click on your personal page or the page that you're deciding to run ads on? Sure, they can, but they do less so because of the accessibility when that's happening. Okay, so super important there for you to know the benefits and cons of both. We've personally, as a company, ran both. When I was doing fitness, I ran primarily DM ads because I liked being in control of getting people on calls more. But you also sometimes lose on what we call pixel data. So like, let's say someone goes on your landing page, you can pixel them, but there's a way around it. Pixel them means I'm trying to make this easy for you guys. So pixeling somebody just means a way to make it easy to track where they're going, what they're doing, all of that good stuff, so that you can retarget that same person. Okay. Are you guys following me so far? If you guys understand the difference between DM and landing page ads, just give me a yes. If you don't understand, tell me what you don't understand so that I can help you. So if you're understanding the difference between DM and landing page ads, just give me a yes below. Let's see, we're getting yes, yes, yes. Okay, awesome. Can we get access to this recording? Yeah, you'll get access to the recording after Fitbudd does send it out. Can we do both at the same time? Yeah, absolutely. You can run DM ads and you can run landing page ads at the exact same time. And oftentimes you can see, hey, this one performs better. They're both performing equally well. Sometimes you'll see, hey, this one gets me more applications, but the application sucks. This one gets me less applications, but the applications are really strong and converting more. Like, I don't care if I'm getting 30 applications via DM ads, if I'm getting 2 of them converting or 1 of them converting versus maybe I got 5 apps and 3 of them converted, right? So it's not about the volume of applications you get or the volume of traffic you get, however your funnel works. It's how many are converting, right? And that's the most important thing. And at what price and what does that look like? Those are all very, very important things, okay? So to help sell high ticket, use DM ads and close the deal in the consultation call and charge them during the call. Yes. So Carly is talking about the next step, right? So let's say she decides to use DM ads and then they book a call. She confirms the call. She gets on a call. Carly's been a client, so she knows how to take them through the sales process. And then she knows how to handle objections because we've gone through all of that. And then from there, she can go boom and close the call from there, right? And yes, that is absolutely one way to do it, Carly. How do we use this with Fitbudd? Aren't all our membership plans transparent price-wise? So Fitbudd, where that integrates is that's your product. So Fitbudd is your product. So it doesn't really necessarily have to do with each other. One is here's marketing, how to get clientele. And then Fitbudd is here's, my platform that I use. If you want your prices transparently on there, that's totally up to you. We don't put our prices transparently on there because the clients that we work with sell high ticket. And if they use Fitbudd as a platform to sell high ticket. So let's say here's part of my program. Here's this 90-day program. I built a progression program for this clientele. They're going to use this platform as part of the program that I'm selling, but I'm not necessarily selling, a $40 product, right? Because when we sell high ticket, we're able to generate more clients, which means we're able to put more capital in the business, provide higher services, all that good stuff. I don't want to dive into it too much today because that was another topic that we have talked about, but that's essentially the framework there. On your page and redirect to a calendar. Thank you for that, Mike. Taking payment on the call is so important. Absolutely. And I'm not getting the full experience. No worries, Jessica. Absolutely. I think Fitbudd sends this out directly after, so you will get the recording. And Devin is right. Many times we've had clients and I'm like, so how'd it go? And they're like, oh, but I just emailed them the invoice. And I'm like, what? you don't want to do that, right? Because especially with paid ads, this is not B2B. With paid ads, with a person you're bringing in, unless you're doing high levels of retargeting, the person you're bringing in is relatively cold, or by marketing terms, warm, but they're relatively cold in that they can cool down real quick, right? And so you do want to take payment on the call because the likelihood of them paying by just sending an invoice substantially, and I mean literally from anywhere from 70 to 90% decreases. So you do need to learn what I talk about, skills. And one of the skills is sales skills and learning how to close on a call. Carly, we talked about objection handling, how to do that, how to make sure to go over that in a smooth way and not in I'm a car salesman, I'm super weird and pushy way, right? That doesn't work. Anyone who's scared of sales because it's pushy, if you're pushy, it's not going to work. It's not the right way to sell. It's very old school selling. So learning how to be able to handle objections in a tasteful way is going to be incredibly important for closing deals. And sales is going to be incredibly important for closing deals. I don't care if you have the best marketing in the world. If you don't know how to close, you're going to have trouble for a while. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next one. Keep going backwards, guys. All right. So I'm going to briefly go over this because I've gone over this in others, but I think it's important to have. Excuse me, my mouth is getting quite dry. All right, so the only six ways to get clients. We had someone in here said, I get all my clients from referrals. That's amazing, right? Because referrals is one of the strongest ways to get clientele. And it's not about I get this way or that way. It's what way is the best for me? And at what point do I need to add another channel of acquisition, another way to start getting clientele? That's what's important. So the first one is going to be earned media. So your content attracting prospective clients. The second one is going to be your owned media. That's your email list, your text list, your Facebook group. Guess what? Paid advertising helps build owned media real quick. Because now you can start moving people who don't convert into your email list, into your text list, into your Facebook group. The amount of conversions we had from text message alone was incredible because you can send blasts, you can warm people up, you can get them to rate you, you can get them to book a call when weeks where you have less calls than others. It does incredibly well. Email is the same thing. Open rate is a little bit lower. That's all. Third one, affiliates and partnerships. So remember at the beginning, I said I'm partnered with the biggest certifying bodies out there. So that be it ACE, NASM, ACSM, whatever it might be. All of those, the reason why we have those partnerships, because it is a win-win situation, and building partnerships for your brand where they hold your clientele, you give them something in exchange for them giving you something, and having an equal transition of value among both of you is really important, and you can bring in clientele using that strategy. The fourth one, referral, word of mouth. right? And so the reason why referral is so strong is because while most of these are linear, referrals are quadratic. In other words, if I spend $2, I know I get $10, for example. If I put out 10 pieces of content, I get 1 conversion. Whereas referrals is 2 people tell 4 people, then 4 people tell 8 people, 8 people tell 12 people, and boom, it keeps building. Versus linear, it's quadratic. So it is a very, very strong source as well, but it requires quite a bit of really strong deliverables and the ability to work on what we call LTV, lifetime value of a customer. So I'll typically ask my clients this, and they'll be like, shit. And I'll say, if you had all of the clients that you've ever gotten and they still stuck with you, how much more money would you have made? How much more revenue would your company have? And then they're like, shit. And I'm like, yeah. So the whole idea is, how can I create such an incredible experience and results so that that client wants to stay and then tell their friends about it? Think about any service or product that you've ever used and why you told your friends. It's because you felt compelled to. I don't care if it was a movie or a doctor you liked or a service you use, whatever it might be, that's what that is, right? All right. 5th one is DM outreach. That's just manually reaching out to potential clients and building a relationship with them, and then eventually seeing if they need to work with you, or if there's a need for them to work with you, and then you get them to hop on a call and have a conversation. And the last one I put here is paid ads, which is the subject of today. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going over, so I won't dive into that too much more. Not all the methods are meant for you, and all of them are really, really valid. You have to find what's going to work best for you. Maybe it's a combination or 2 or 3. Maybe it's all of them. I would definitely recommend for anyone here right now. All of them is not a good call, but maybe it's a few of them. Maybe it's only one that you want to focus on. Maybe whatever you're doing is doing great. It's getting you clients at the rate that you want, and you don't want any more. But if you want more, then you should consider, maybe I have my organic game, earned media, my content attracting clients down right now. And I want to boost that via paid media, right? And now you can start adding paid media as a source to start generating tons and tons of clientele. So I can tell you, for me, both in my online fitness business and in my in-person fitness business, I use paid advertising to get the company to multiple 6 figures in both of them. In the first one, it was a lot of luck because paid ads, like I said, were really cheap at the time. And the second time, it was a lot of skill, but it took time and a lot of mentors to build that skill. All right, so I'm going to pause real quick and make sure you guys are all with me. Is there any questions so far? Is this all making sense for everyone? If it's making sense, just give me a make sense. If there's any questions, I'll try to answer. We'll do a quick Q&A at the end too. So makes sense, makes sense. Awesome, awesome. And if there's am I talking coaching clients and what I used? Both, yes. So they were both coaching clients. So one was fitness coaching and the other one was business coaching. So yes, they were both business, oh, the one I just referred to was both fitness actually. So I did in the gym, it was paid ads. And then with online fitness coaching, it was paid ads as well. We also use paid ads for the business coaching, but we used it for both of the fitness companies. Taking biz coaching clients. Am I taking biz coaching? Oh, got it. Sorry, Mike. Yes. I'll talk about that briefly at the end. And if it's a fit, we can hop on a call and chat about what that looks like. All right. So let me continue on without further ado. All right. So only change one variable at a time, right? So what does that mean? So let's say you're running paid ads, okay? And there's 3 main components. There's copy. For anyone who's not familiar with that, copy is like essentially the persuasive writing that you create to persuade someone into a certain direction, whatever that might be, right? So that's your written portion. Second is your targeting. right? Who's your demographic? Where are they? What type of people are they? What are their interests? What are we going to compound with? That's the second thing. The third thing is your creative, your photo or your video and what that looks like. So many times I'll see people making the wrong decision here in that, oh, my ad's not working, I'm going to switch everything. Like, what? You can't do that. That's not how you cannot do that in terms of like how to follow numbers, right? So when it comes to running paid advertising, numbers are really important, and business numbers are really important, but in particular here. Why? Because let's say you have copy, targeting, and creative, and the only thing that's not working, maybe you have the wrong target market. Because if you have great copy and great creative to help people lose weight, and it's being targeted to like super fit healthy people, you're not going to get clients, right? It's like if Fitbudd was doing their outbound to a completely, they're talking to fashion professionals or something. I'm just making things up, but like, right? The targeting needs to be based on who your ideal client is, right? And so only switching one variable at a time will tell you what's working and what isn't working. So maybe you have the right target and you have the right creative, but your copy isn't grabbing that audience. Maybe you have the right copy and the right targeting, but your creative isn't grabbing that audience. Again, if you're working with somebody, they can probably give you a really good idea of what works and what doesn't work. It's not guaranteed like 100% this is going to work. That's just no business whatsoever. But like, they'll have a good idea, right? At this point, I've ran hundreds of fitness accounts, and I've ran my own fitness accounts. I know what works. I know what targeting to use, what not to use, what to include, what not to include. And I know the general framework to follow, right? But that doesn't mean you don't have to tweak and adjust and fix and do things based on certain metrics and results that you get, because every account is slightly different. But there is a standard protocol that you can follow that can pretty much guarantee that the ad's going to do pretty damn well, right? After some adjustments and that kind of stuff as it's needed. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right. So remember earlier when I said, if you have a really bad platform, you're going to get less results. So here we are. So especially with like Instagram DM ads, that's important. With Facebook DM ads, that's important. Less so with landing page. I'm using Instagram as an example. You know, like you can see the second page is like impactful performance fitness, and it's like you've got 18 followers, no profile photo, and like 4 random super bad lit photos, right? You're not going to do well with that, right? So it's the same thing as like, here I have this, like, I'm going to apply for this job, but I've got like the worst resume in the world, and I hope that they give me a chance, right? So that is your resume. And so if that's your resume, how can you optimize it as much as you possibly can so that when someone looks at it, they're like, damn, that's looking good. And if that's looking good, you're going to get more conversions. You're going to get more people who actually substantially are going to convert into a call. And then it's on you to convert them into a sale by being able to sell in the right way. Okay. All right. And these are just examples of like, here's like decent pages that look relatively well. And you can see they're not all hundreds of thousands of followers. This one has, the first two have like 2,000 followers. You can even have several hundred followers. It doesn't matter for paid ads, right? What matters is that it's presentable and that it looks good and that I can tell what you're doing and that there's something that like draws me in because I'm interested, because you're creating strong content. It looks good and I can resonate based on my pain points as your ideal client. These are all super important, okay? All right, so the influencer model. This is an analogy, if anything. So trust is the lubricant of all sales. So why do you think sponsorships with influencer marketing even exist? Quick thing, influencer marketing in 2016 was like a $1.6 billion industry. This year it's a $23 billion industry. And the reason for that is because it does well. Why does it do well? Because of the know, like, and trust factor. And there's a reason why I'm telling you guys this. It's because if you in your business are able to build the know, like, and trust factor, you are going to do better, whether it's you run paid ads, whether it's your organic content, whether it's exclusive community, whatever it might be, and whatever the strategy is. If you are able to do that via the mechanisms that we've talked about, whatever tool you use is going to perform better. And so I think a lot of us either spend too much or too little time on this. I've had clients that are like, Sarah, I got to make it better. I got to make my page so much better. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do that. I'm like, okay, but we got to also focus on sales. We got to also focus on lead generation. And then I have clients that are the opposite. They just want to lead generate and they don't want to at all do any of the stuff that's needed for branding. So the goal isn't to be on this side or this side. The goal is to be somewhere in the middle where you're able to do both at the same time, because at the beginning, the whole purpose of a business is to be profitable. And things get a lot easier when you're able to bring in money into the company so that you can spend on more things. So if you're able to bring that in on a sooner basis, you're going to do better because you're going to have more breathing room to do differing things. Okay. And so you'll see here, the influencer model for ads. Fill your platform with testimonials or case studies. If you don't have them, that's okay. There's ways to get around it. If you do have them, put them there, right? Second thing is adding personalization, adding voice notes, adding videos where you can. And this is me talking about like direct message, whether it's organic, whether it's someone who booked a call with you. What I used to do with the gym, with the ads, anyone who booked a call, I would just get on video, just be like, hey, Matt, super excited to get on a call with you. Saw that you're coming into not call, it was in person. I was like, super excited to see you today. And saw that you're coming in at this time. Let me know if you have any XYZ. This is the address. I'll see you then. And people were like, oh, okay, she's a real person, right? Because like if you're running ads, people are gonna be like, are you a real person? Is this real? Is this a scam? Because trust factor is a little bit lower. So adding these kinds of things immediately build trust. There's ways to immediately build trust, and all you have to do is use them. And I'm talking about them right now, okay? The third thing is building valuable content that creates SEO and searchability for your company. It's important. Like, you don't need to be the highest ranked on SEO, and actually it's very hard to be without putting in substantial levels of money into it. But you can do well, right? You can do well. You can have contributor content. You can get on podcasts. You can make sure your website is SEO friendly. And I know that Fitbudd, for example, provides you guys with websites. Like, you can do things to make it SEO friendly, right? There's all sorts of tools out there, free tools that you can use to improve. So use those when you can, okay? All right. So before we're almost done, before we finish off, copies a written part of your message. Yes, it is. Trying to figure out how I can. Okay. Oh, Mike answered. Awesome. Thank you.
So before we jump into the questions, let me quickly introduce Fitbudd to those who joined late and don't have access to the platform yet. So in summary, Fitbudd helps you grow your fitness business with the power of your own app on iOS and Android. Our platform is the only tool you'll ever need to seamlessly run your fitness business and build a robust digital brand. For those interested in experiencing Fitbudd firsthand, we offer a 30-day free trial. To explore more, please schedule a demo with our team using the link that we'll just provide in the chat. Now over to Sarah for the Q&A session. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat.
Okay, awesome. And I just realized someone asked this and I forgot the tool. So it's called, I believe, Facebook Ad Spy. So if you look inside of just put a quick Google search inside of Google, you'll see it's called Facebook Ad Spy, and it allows you to do some stuff for free, but like the membership's like $30 a month or something like that. And if you're actively trying to run ads, it is well worth the investment, because you will get, a very, very strong return on that. Mike says, how well will this process work when the coaching program is also focusing on relationships, mindsets, fatherhood, etc.? That's a really good question, Mike. We would probably need to chat a little bit, but it really depends on like who your ideal client is and what they're looking for. It's not about how well the program will look. It's what are they looking to buy, right? And then what we would need to do is position your program based on what they want or they think they need the most. So I'll give you a really quick example, Mike. So sometimes we'll have clients that, or oftentimes, because yes, we know mindset is intertwined massively with your health, with your wealth, with all of these different things. So we'll say, Sarah, I want to integrate meditation. I want to integrate mindset, or I want to integrate being a good person, whatever it might be. But then the ideal client, what they think is that they just want to lose weight. And that's okay. because you need to meet your client where they're at and then give them what they need once they're inside of your program. So let's say, and I'm giving you an example, Mike, just to hopefully kind of solidify this. And then if you want to chat, we can chat one-on-one. But so let's say, for example, that your program is weight loss or whatever, and someone comes into that, then they realize, oh, in order for me to actually keep this weight off, I have to figure out like my neural programming that has gotten me to eat X food every single time I feel emotional about my relationship, or I'm thinking in Y way, which is constantly triggering me to eat this food, or how I feel and how I present really influences how I show up as a mother or a father. And you teach them throughout. And I call that the chocolate covered broccoli effect. So you're giving them what they need or they want, which is the chocolate. And then you give them what they need once they're inside your program, which is peeling the chocolate off and giving them the broccoli. So hopefully that helped. But that's essentially kind of the angle we would need to take after we kind of learn a little bit more. The link is right in here. Fitbudd put it in a couple times, so you can just kind of look above. It's just influencernexus.com//Fitbudd. You're welcome, Mike. Client calls in Fitbudd. Is there a way to record client calls in Fitbudd? That's a Fitbudd question. This is the link. Ashley, we got the link. Any other questions that I missed? Let me see really quick. I'm going to see if I can put the tool that I've enjoyed inside of this chat. I don't want to take too much of your guys' time. I got to do a quick search for it. But if you guys want it, you can just send me a message and I can send it. But it's like Facebook Ad Spy or something like that. And you'll have access. Any other questions, guys, before we hop off? Everyone, I think, got the link if they wanted it. All right. For young athletes, you work with gyms like that. We do sports performance athletes training. For youth athletes, you work with gyms like that. Yeah, absolutely. As long as the goal is around sales, marketing, branding for the gym, then the concepts are very, very similar in nature. So regardless of what the focus is, we would just need to really work backwards on here's a niche audience, here's the type of people we want, here's the traffic that we want to run to it, here's what we have in terms of budgeting, demographic, all that good stuff. And then based off of that data, we work backwards to figure out specific marketing strategy, whatever that's going to look like for you, to generate more branding, more clientele, whatever the target goal is. So hopefully that answered that question. See you in the next webinar. Thanks, Carly. Loved having you. All right. I think that's about it.
Thank you all for joining us today. We'll be back soon with another exciting webinar. And thank you, Sarah, yet again, and another webinar, amazing webinar that we did. The replay will be made available soon. So look out for the link in your registered emails and have a great day.